My name is Mr. Spooky Panda, and I'm just gonna be talking to you guys about a little bit what's going on and why I haven't been active as recently as I would have liked, and all that stuff like that. And I know I'd say that I'd make an update video when things went back and everything like that. So I feel like now would be a good time to start that, and I felt like now would be an appropriate time to talk about it, and so that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. I just want to say first things first that I am okay. There's nothing wrong with my situation. I'm not in any danger. I'm not. Although what I'm about to say really can sound bad, I do want to say that I'm not in any sort of danger. My life isn't in any sort of danger. I don't feel any particular way. It's just I'm just gonna be making about how I feel at this moment in time. So I want to let you all know first things first that I have started taking my meds again, which means of course that I'm not going to be playing difficult games. I know last night I tried to play Star Wars Fallen Order, but during that time I somehow fell asleep. I'm sorry that there was a huge pause. I will be deleting that live stream just because, but yes, that sleep. Awesome job, me. But all jokes aside, though, I mean, I did fall asleep. That wasn't really a joke. But I mean, like, going back to all seriousness, though, I do want to say that I have started taking my meds and all that stuff. So that is something that I said I'd tell you guys about. And what that means is, if you guys didn't read it, is that I'm not going to be as happy and as energetic as I would like to be. It's not saying that, I'm going to be sad all the time. What it means, though, is that, in fact, the opposite. I won't be sad, and I won't be happy. Well, I'll be happy, but I mean in the sense that it's going to be hard for me to really show happiness. And I know that's, something that every depressed boy would say, oh, you can't be happy. But it's not that I'm not happy. It's the fact that it's just really hard for me to show said happiness. Doesn't mean that I'm not happy, though. It doesn't mean that I don't have fun playing games. In fact, I still have a lot of fun playing the games that I play, even though it's just hard for me to show it. I also want to go in and just say that it also doesn't inhibit me from being sad. In fact, I still get sad very easily, but it's just really hard for me to, process the sadness. And I want to talk about that, and that's really what I want to talk about right now, is just how I feel about the whole situation. Now, I don't think it's any secret that I hate the meds that I take, or haven't, that I will be taking. And I don't hate them for the sole purpose that it's meds, and meds are derogatory now. It's gotten a bad rep nowadays, and taking meds is seen as a very bad thing. Only people who are sick needs to take them, or people that can't, like for emotional meds like mine, people think that you use those because you can't control your emotions anymore. And while that's not exactly the case, it does help me feel better. And I hate that that's something that's been associated with it, is the fact that now it's kind of more of a term used and more something is seen as something that is more of, this person needs it because they're sick. This person needs it because they can't control themselves. And while it's not exactly true to every extent, it is helping me keep calm. It is helping me not have these depressive episodes anymore. I'd also like to go and say that it's also not something that is something that I'm very proud of. I'm not going to sit here and say that I like having to take these meds. And the reason I don't like taking them is because of the fact that, well, I'm not me. And I want to talk about that. And that's the fact that while I may need these meds, it's hard for me to really accept myself during this time. And it's not because I'm taking meds, and obviously meds are, emotional meds screw with your brain. It's more along the lines of because I'm not me anymore. I don't exhibit emotions the way that I don't feel like myself when I take them. Now again, eventually this will fade, and eventually I will get my emotions back, and I will become me again, just without the anxiety and not without the depression. Unfortunately, though, the road to get there is so long that sometimes it feels like it won't stop, and sometimes it feels like this is just who I'm going to become now. And while I know that's not true at all, and that eventually I will become better again, and I will be able to be happy and all that stuff, it's scary, though. It's scary because I can think of such sad things, but I'm not sad about them. And I think that's the scariest thing, is because I don't feel like myself. I think the biggest thing for humans is their emotion. And unfortunately, I don't feel like people are human without some type of emotion. And while I still feel emotion, I still feel hurt. Like, if I still feel hurt when things happen. Like, the whole situation still hurts me, and I still feel it in the pit of my stomach, and I still feel that pain. But unfortunately, I don't feel it the way that I usually would. Well, I don't feel sad, and I don't have these mental breakdowns like I used to. I just hurt. And while I hurt, I don't show emotion. I'm not sad. I'm numb. So while I feel lonely and still sucks, I don't hurt like I did. But the problem is that this week I'm pushing everyone away. I've had friends try to get in contact with me. I've had friends that want to play games with me, and unfortunately I just, for the sake of, not being a massive asshole to them, I stay away from them. I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud that I have to hide away from everyone, but just for the sake of everyone just being happy, and for the sake of not having to put my problems on everyone else, I do kind of stay away from everyone. I do kind of hide away from everyone else. And I think that's my biggest issue. I think that my biggest issue now is the fact that I just need to get over this feeling. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything is going right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm perfectly fine. I'm not perfectly fine. I feel as though a part of me is missing. I feel as though there's something wrong with me. But I also want to say real quick that I have so many regrets, but I can't feel them. I can watch movies that would make me happy, movies that would make me sad, and I can't register that anymore. It's just empty. The only emotion I can convey now is anger. Is irritability. I am super irritable all the time now, and I just get angry. And anger is a luxury that I don't have at this moment in time. Anger is not a luxury that I have. I can't afford to be angry, because I need to save these emotions for, being healthy. I don't have time to do all this moping around. I don't have time to feel this way, because my life keeps going, but I have to go with it. I think one of the biggest issues that I'm facing right now is regret. I still feel emotion like everyone else. I just can't convey it anymore. Like, I don't want to sit here and make it seem like I just don't feel sad anymore, or I just don't feel happy anymore. That's not what it is. But it is harder to feel said emotion. It's harder to feel sad. And when I think about sad topics, I'm not particularly sad about them anymore. I think, again, and I want to leave the past. I want to let the past die. That's the biggest thing I want right now. But I think about what happened for the year and a half and how it ended and everything, and I don't feel pain. I don't sit there and cry uncontrollably knowing that our paths will never cross again. directions. And now I know that I know a lot of people who are like, you'll get over this, you'll be fine. But unfortunately, I'm not like everyone else. And I want that to be made very clear moving forward, is that I bring this up because it hurts so badly. I bring it up because I like talking about how I feel to a certain extent. I don't like talking about how I feel all the time. I hate doing that. Because last time I was open, I was hurt. But at the same time, though, it makes me feel good. It does make me feel good to the point where I overshare. And so that's why I always bring it up sometimes. That's why every time that I've streamed, I've brought it up, because I hope that it makes me feel better. That's why I'm doing it now. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I move on like anyone else. That was terrible. And now all I can think about, is how our lives will never cross again. Our lives are going two separate directions, and that I'll never be able to talk to her or possibly ever see her again. And while that's not, on its own would be sad, I don't feel the sadness that I once felt. I don't feel like me. I used to think about this, and I used to get scared. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm scared being alone again. When I started this channel, it was a way for me to escape, and I started it again just because I liked recording. And this was never a channel made specifically for creating content for people. It was more just a passion project. And I started it alone. And as you can tell, when I started it, I was a lot happier. And in that year and a half, after February, a year and a half ago in February, I found a whole new voice. And I did. And I found a whole new voice, and it was strange to me. A year and a half ago, I was taking these meds, but I felt like myself, because that's all I knew. That's all my brain could register, was these meds are me now. And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid to go back to being alone, because I know what happened when I was alone. And these meds are supposed to help me get through that anxiety, but I don't feel like it will. You know what I mean? Now I'm just rambling on, but I don't know. I try to find some semblance of reason within what's going on here, but I don't. A lot of people say, like, see the silver lining, but I don't. It's hard to see the silver lining when you can't feel anything. I'm numb. I feel it. I can't show it, though. It's hard for me to convey emotions now. It sounds confusing, but that's how I feel. I feel pain. I feel happiness. I feel sadness. And by pain, I mean emotional, not physical. Obviously, I can feel physical pain, but I also don't feel it, too. It's super strange to me. And I don't understand why. And I know I said I'd put a stop to Dark Souls, but this is one of the only games that actually work. And I think Dark Souls 3 is perfect because, well, I know this game. I know the mechanics and I can play it. So don't get your panties in a bunch that I'm playing Dark Souls. But my point still stands, is that I just feel funny. I don't feel like myself. There are some days where if I could take back every day, I would. There are some days where all I want to do is go back in time to fix what's broken. There are some days where I just want to move on with my life. But there are other days that I can't even begin to get out of bed. I think some of my biggest issues stem from being afraid. And not afraid in the sense that, ooh, this is scary, but more in the psychological sense. Not fear as in screaming, but fear as in panic and worry. For the past 3 months, was afraid that the one I loved the most was dying. Not dying as in death, but dying as in the person I knew is switching to someone that I didn't know. That the love that was once there was fading. Darks was a great example, hollowing. Things become hollow. Their meaning becomes diminished. There's no rhyme, there's no reason, there's no life to them. It's fading. And for the longest time, I was afraid that the one I loved the most was fading and turning into something that was hollow, unfeeling, and empty. And I was afraid that soon it would be over. And in that time, I readied myself for that day. I readied for myself for the eventual time where the day would come and it would be over. My fear was insurmountable, undescribable. I hadn't felt such fear in ages. The fear I felt was not the fear of screaming, that was the fear where suspense. That fear I felt wasn't the fear of death or the fear that something big was coming my way that I had to escape. But I felt inadequate. It was the type of fear you feel when something is going to happen that's bad, but you're powerless to stop it. I felt that the one I loved was fading into something that I couldn't even recognize anymore. But the sad truth is that it wasn't her. It was me. I was so afraid that she would turn into something that I couldn't even recognize anymore. But the sad truth is that the person that I should have feared, my fear was misplaced. I was the one changing. I was the one that was changing, not for the better, but for the worse. I was the one that was becoming hollow and more empty inside. I was the one that was turning into something that I was afraid of. I feared that the one I fell in love with would just non-existent. It was changing to someone to a cold, unfeeling person. But that wasn't the case at all. It was me. I was afraid of myself and I didn't even realize. I was turning into the one thing that I swore that I would avoid. I was turning into the one that I was so afraid of. And the sad truth is I didn't even realize until just recently, when I was reflecting on it, which I do a lot, unfortunately. I think what made things so more difficult is that I'm now having to accept the fact that my fear was so misplaced. That she and her hollow and her turning more hollow wasn't even the reason why things ended. I was so fixated on her and her changing. And me being so afraid that one day she was changing and eventually would just not want to be with me anymore. I was so afraid of that. That in my panic, in my anxiety, I ended it. I was so afraid of this relationship ending that in my panic, I ended things. I was so afraid that she was changing and that I would just be left behind. And guess what? She wasn't changing at all. It was me. I was so afraid that she would end things because she's changing and realizing that maybe I'm not what she wanted. I was so afraid that she was changing because she was trying to end things slowly. That I ended it. I was so afraid, and that one moment of panic and doubt and all those times of anxiety and all that anxiety built up turned into anger because I was just so done. I was so frustrated with feeling the way I did that in a split second. It's just like I hate, obviously this is, it's going to sound dumb, but this is the same thing that happened with Anakin and Padme. He was so afraid about killing the one he loved that in his anger he killed the one he loved. That's about the only equivalent I can make to the situation, is that I was so afraid that I would lose her that I did it. I ended things. I don't even know how. I can't even remember. I don't remember what I said. I just remember what happened. And it obviously didn't end my way, because I wouldn't be here in this situation now. I say this because I want to get things off my chest. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I can talk to myself all I want, but it doesn't make me feel any better. This is about the only way I can make myself feel better now. I mean, I have friends, obviously, I can talk to, but I've been pushing them away because of the meds. I don't want people to get mad at me for obviously being very unfeeling right now. But there's many things that could have ended differently. And it sucks that it ended the way it did. Obviously, you don't want it to end this way. Worst of all, you don't want your anxiety to get the better of you and cause you to destroy the one thing that you cared so much about. And I think that's why anxiety is so insidious. I think that's why anxiety is so disgusting. It will literally rip the things that you love away from you. Anxiety will rip your loved ones from you. It will cast your friends aside and it will rip the ones you love from you. I think what's worse is that these meds are making my anxiety worse right now. Just because of the way I feel and because I don't want to push that on other people. I don't want other people to have to sit there and try to make good conversation with me, and I'm just sitting on the sidelines just not feeling anything. I don't feel anything anymore. I don't feel much excitement anymore. One of my favorite scenes from Star Wars is, oddly enough, from the trilogy, and that's this scene on Exegol where all the ships come together, and I always get hyped for that scene. I don't care how many times you watch it. That scene will never get old. But I didn't feel a thing when I watched it. I don't know. I think it's difficult because I know that this situation wasn't even her fault. It was mine. I was so anxious that I killed it. I can't get over that. like I did. My anxiety became too much to bear. I buckled under the pressure. And I do blame myself for that. I mean, who else am I supposed to blame for that? I can't blame anyone else for my anxiety. You know, maybe I was overthinking the whole situation. Maybe she wasn't changing. And maybe it was just my anxiety from built up months of stress and months of anxiety building up because I haven't been taking care of myself. Months of anxiety built up from not being able to sleep anymore. Months of anxiety built up from having to live like me. Like, I don't know. If I could tell you what caused the anxiety, I would. I don't know. I don't want this to be like a draw. I'm not gonna talk about this more than I have to. As soon as things blow over, it's over. You know, once things blow over and I feel better, obviously I won't bring this up again. But for the time being, just indulge me. I mean, if this isn't your cup of tea, obviously click off. I'm not gonna force you to sit here and be my fucking therapist. But I have nowhere else to turn to. My meds won't work for another month. Fully for another month. So for now, I'm stuck. For a month, I'm stuck in a stalemate between not feeling anything and feeling the crushing weight of my guilt and the crushing weight of me knowing that I did this to myself. This wasn't a she did it type of deal where it was she caused everything. It's a situation where it is it is a situation where there are no bad guys. There are no good guys. I think what caused my paranoia, pointing fingers, but I think what caused my paranoia was jealousy. Overarching jealousy. It was more than just that, though. It was also the fear that, of course, I thought she was changing. It was jealousy. It was greed. It was more than that. And not greed in the sense of money, but greed in the sense of me just wanting to finally just rush happiness, rush it all, get it all in my system because I didn't want to wait anymore. But I think it was more than that too. I think more than just greed and jealousy, I think it was also stress. I think that there were more than just one things that went wrong, and I think there were more than one things that made me feel the way I felt before everything ended. And again, I'm not just going to sit here and say that this is all my fault. It's not all my fault. Unfortunately, my brain is just wired that way. I would never, ever, and I never will blame mental illness on the individual. I hold that myself to that standard. I hold other people to that standard as well. I don't believe that my anxiety was my fault. I believe that the actions I took because of the anxiety was my fault. But I don't blame myself for feeling the way I felt. You know, I'm not sitting here and wiping my hands clean just because I have a mental illness or two. I have ADHD, anxiety, and depression is on the table, but hasn't been diagnosed, but it is definitely on the table. I don't blame myself for feeling the way I did. Jealousy, greed, that's just stuff that I've come to expect because, all my life I've been handed hardships in my life. I've been handed the worst deck of cards you can get. And I wouldn't say, and I mean the worst deck of cards in my situation. Obviously, there are people much worse off than me. But I believe with the events in my life and the way that I am as a person definitely did not go well together. But I wouldn't say that I have the worst. I wouldn't say I have the worst luck, but I mean, you know what I mean. I think. I lost my train of thought. I have no idea what I was going to say. I guess I'll jumble up in there. I think. Oh, that's right. I was talking about me. Of course I was talking about me. But I think that I'm a religious person. So indulge me again for what I'm about to say is religious. I know, crazy, right? Someone like me, religious. I know I joke about God a lot, but I do believe to a certain extent. I wouldn't say I'm very religious, but I'd say that there is definitely a higher being above us. But I would like to ask, and if I could ask him a question, I would ask him two questions. Firstly, why I was created the way I am. Why was I created with the things that I have? And my second question would be, why does he do this to me? Why is that my life was filled with such hardships? Why was my life filled with hateful people? Why in my childhood was I given these, I hate to call them tests because after a certain time they're not tests anymore. And obviously there's the old saying of he's testing you to see how far you'll go to make you a stronger person. But to that I say there's only so much testing someone can go through before you break them. There's only so much you can do before you start hurting a person instead of helping them. All my life I was seen as an outcast. I was bullied. I was beaten in school. I mean, I wasn't beaten at home, thank God. But I was beaten at school. I was beat up. I was an outcast. I was picked on for my stature. I'm very small. I'm picked on for pretty much everything under the sun. I had no friends. The reason why I'm so scared to be alone is because when I was alone, I was bullied. And I was beaten. I had no one. I had family at home, but I mean, at school, anytime I wasn't at home, or I didn't have my family around me, I was beaten. I was bullied. And I know that's going to be the saddest sob story ever, but you also got to think that I have ADHD, I have anxiety. I'm afraid to be alone now. And I'd have to ask him how come he's put me through all this. I'd ask him why he felt that it was all necessary to do this. Now, again, a lot of people will say that, I've heard a lot of people say that it's just tests, it's just a test, it's just testing. But I don't know many tests that put you through this. You know, I'm not growing to be a better person. I'm not growing from these experiences. In fact, I've been hurt. I haven't grown from any of these experiences. From a luck standpoint, I've had very poor luck my entire life. I mean, even now, the one person who I thought that would free me from all this really just turned out, well, she didn't turn out to hurt me at all, but I mean in the sense that I turned out to kill that. I turned out to be the one that ruined my chance for a lucky break. And I didn't do it. And here I am again. Back in my ADHD and anxiety state. I can't escape it. It's funny to me. Well, I'm not getting bullied at school anymore, so obviously the next best thing to do would just give me my anxiety back, give me my ADHD that I've done so well at keeping maintained. You know, obviously because I'm not getting bullied at school anymore, obviously we need to do something, right? So here we go. Here's my anxiety back. Here's your depressive state. Your ADHD is out the wazoo. Your anxiety is way too much for you to bear. Here you go. Have fun, buddy. And I don't understand why. I just want a lucky break one of these days. I just want to be... I want to be normal. I want to be able to go out and do things that people can do. I want to go out there and, you know, not have to look over my shoulder every time I go outside on my own. I want that. I just want to know how long it's going to take for me to be able to do that finally. And I don't know how long that's going to be. And I'm not, again, this isn't a pity party thing. I'm not sitting here asking for your sympathy. I'm not going to sit here and ask for everyone to, you know, be like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm terribly off and that I'm miserable. And while I am miserable, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not looking for sympathy points. That's not why I make these. That's not why I'm sitting here right now, talking to you guys about this. You know, I think I've said it before, but the reason why I make things like this is because I want people to learn. I want people to learn from this. And I want people to learn that it's okay to feel this way, because I do. And it's not okay to feel this way, but it's okay to, but I want people to know that there are other people out there that feel this way. To know that you're not alone. And a lot of people do it better than me. I'm not going to lie to you. There are many other options out there other than just me. There are many other alternative options that are so much better, such as talking to a family member, talking to friends. You got online resources, you got in-person resources. You know, I'm not the one you want to come to for these things. Not yet anyways. I think the one benefit that's come out of this is that it's driven me so much harder to get into psychology. It has. I think that with this and knowing like how I feel, I don't want other people to go through this. So it's making me want to become a psychotherapist even more than it is now. And I think that's a touching sentiment. I'm also not going to sit here and say that it's, you know, noble. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you know, I'm taking the noble sacrifice of listening to your problems. And that's not how anyone should think. If anyone thinks that way, or if you've heard anyone say that they think that way, it's not okay. It's just to let you all know. But there's also many different things that go into this that I'm not even going to touch upon, such as how I feel waking up, how I do that, you know, like what I think about waking up. there's many different things that I want to touch upon, but really don't want to, just for privacy and personal reasons. I just don't feel comfortable talking about all of this. I don't feel comfortable at some points. There's a certain point where I need to keep things to myself just because I don't feel comfortable talking about them. I think one of the other things that I do want to talk about, though, and one of the most important things that I will touch upon now, is how I'm going to move forward with this. And I know that I've talked about, saying that I feel guilty for this ending and that my fear is what led to the ending of a relationship that I held so dear. And moving forward, I want to talk about how I'm going to move forward with this. So I think the most important thing to realize is that I'm not going anywhere, in the sense that I'm not going to hurt myself. I'm not going to do anything drastic like that. I think the way I'm going to move forward with this is with whatever dignity I fucking have left, And I'm also not going to sit here and say that I'm going to move forward in a healthy way either. There are still times where I want to talk to her. There are still times where there's lingering doubts in my mind that I can still somehow do this, and I know I can't. She's moved on. She's with another guy, and I know I can't do anything. I'm powerless. But there are some days where I just so desperately want to just reach out and say something. There are so many times where I desperately just want to say, I'm still here, and I'm still gonna fight. Now, there's one thing I wanted to talk about that, is a big nail in the coffin here, and that is what she did, or what she didn't do. She didn't fight. She didn't fight. I can sit here and say that, I did everything wrong, and then my anxiety got the better of me, but truth is, she didn't fight. I know I'm just ranting now, and I've completely gone off the rails with my meds, but trust me, this all is important. This isn't just one big continuous rant about different things. This all leads back to the meds and how now I don't feel anything. I think one of the biggest killers is that she didn't fight. She let this happen. I told her from the very start how I was. I told her from the very start that I was not normal. I told her from the very start that I have anxiety that can only be rivaled by that of someone who just murdered 3 men and is on the run. I told her my anxiety was one of the worst that I have ever seen anyone have before. I have yet to find anyone, and maybe I'm not looking hard enough, but I have yet to find anyone that has anxiety as bad as mine. I haven't. Maybe from a child. But of that of an 18-year-old man, I've yet to see it. And I told her that. I said, I'm going to have the worst anxiety that I believe you will ever see. My anxiety will be terrible. It will be... Well, it's going to be a challenge. I told her that, and I said that if that makes you uncomfortable, to leave. And she said no. But every time I had an episode, and every time where I couldn't think of a way out. And I told her many times that if I can't find a way out, I will run. I will run, I will not look back, and you're going to have to knock some fucking sense into me. And she said, okay. But every time I ran, she never fought. Every time I ran, the person who agreed to to knock some sense back into me wasn't fucking there for me. Unfortunately, this fight was no different. She wasn't there. She didn't fight back. You know, maybe I deserve it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a perfect guy and that everyone should be fighting for me at every beck and call, and every time I have an outburst, they need to just fight for me. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that for someone who agreed and someone that knew about all my issues but still took me in anyways, and the person who agreed that they would fight for me, they didn't fight. I think that's another issue that I haven't fully grasped yet, is that there was no fight. It was just emptiness. You know, unfortunately, maybe I lost her a long time ago. You know, maybe now that I think about it, maybe she did change. You know, maybe she did change into the person that I feared, that the person I so desperately feared, the person who just stuck with me just to stick with me, the person who didn't actually care and just was there just to say that she was, because she made a promise to me so long ago. You know, maybe she was that person. And the fact of the matter is, I still ended things because I was afraid, but you think that someone who agreed that their anxiety wouldn't matter, you think that they'd fight. She didn't fight. She said okay. She just said okay. You know, usually around this time I would cry and just beg, and I just refuse to believe this, but I don't feel anything. It's not acceptance. I don't accept what happened. Sometimes I still wish that things would just go back to normal, that one day I'd wake up and then there she was, you know, texting me. And I think it's silly for me to talk about this all on stream. Sometimes I think it's pathetic that I do this. Maybe it is pathetic. Maybe it is pathetic that I'm forced to talk about this on stream because I don't want to hurt or I don't want to bother anyone. Maybe. I don't know. I think that I don't know. I think that maybe things got out of hand. I think, and I don't mean obviously the fight got out of hand, but I think that everything got out of hand way before this whole situation started. And I think that what the fuck are they doing outside? Sorry if you guys can hear that. That's my family. They're very, very energetic bunch. Alright, I think they're done. But regardless, And honestly, I had an episode with one of my friends where I told him straight up, I said, this isn't fair. I said, how is it fair for the person who fought for the relationship, the person who fought to the bitter end? Why is he the only one that has to sit back and suffer? Why is the person that fought for everything, the person that fought to keep the relationship going because they cherished it above all else, the person who picked her over his own family when he really shouldn't have, why is he the only one left to suffer? Why is he the one that has to make changes to his brain, literally? Because I have to, chemically. Why is he the one that has to make the sacrifice? Just when you think that there's nothing left to lose, the one that fights always loses one more thing. Is it dignity? Is it pride? No, it's neither of those two. It's your mind. It's your emotions. I fought long, and I fought hard. I fought through everything, and then I fought through absolutely nothing. I fought for better or for worse. I fought for things that I knew wouldn't last, and I fought for things that I thought would. I fought for things that meant the most to me, and I fought for things that meant nothing at all to me. I fought to keep something going that clearly the other person had no intentions of continuing, and I fought for things that I thought meant something. I fought for things that I thought we both wanted, and I fought for things that only she wanted. But she didn't fight. There was no fight. None. She just accepted it. Said okay and walked off. Not literally, but you know what I mean, figuratively. I know at the beginning I said that it was me who was hollow, but hell, maybe it wasn't just me. I've come to realize that now that I'm talking, and not even before, I've literally now just come to the realization that, maybe I wasn't so off base like I thought I was. Maybe my anxiety, although unfortunate and not something I'm proud of, but maybe my anxiety wasn't as far off base as I thought it was. Maybe my anxiety was more warranted than I would have hoped. Clearly to some extent it was, if she moved on so quickly. I still hate to admit it, though. I still hate to admit that my mental illness might have saved me. And I fucking hate that. I hate that the reason why that it ended was because of my anxiety. And the reason I found out that she didn't, or the reason that I'm finding out now that she doesn't care worth a damn from me, was because of my anxiety. I mean, what else could it be? It's not like she was not fighting for me for the greater good of humanity. It's not like she was doing it because, it would have saved my life. She's not doing it because it would have saved somebody. She did it because she didn't care anymore. And I'm now just realizing that the real reason why she didn't fight was not because she was just so upset and just, she was just didn't know what to do. It's because she didn't care. And you know what? I don't feel anything. I don't feel sad. I don't even know how to explain it to you. It hurts. Like I feel the pit in my stomach, and my heart hurts thinking about it, but I don't know, I'm not sad. I just here. You know, like you would when you just wake up in the morning. You know, you're not happy, you're not sad, you're just content. Would be the word that would be a good word. Just content. You know, normal. And I don't want to sit here and say that anxiety was what saved me. Because anxiety to a certain extent is okay. But having generalized anxiety disorder like I do, that's a mental illness. But anxiety by itself is just fear. And maybe my anxiety is what saved me. You know, maybe that's because God only knows how long that relationship would have gone. God only knows how long I would be stuck there for. Who knows what could have happened, how long it would have gone. Who knows how long I'd be strung along like that just for her just to not want to desire a fight. I'm not proud to admit it, but I put away a lot of my own thoughts and beliefs and set them aside. You know, this person was not nice sometimes. Sometimes this person didn't seem to care. But I stuck to it anyways because that's what love is. That's what love is. Love doesn't matter what that person's done. Love is not just something that you can say and then immediately turn your back on someone when they've made a mistake. You can't say that you love someone if you're going to turn around and immediately go to someone else. It's not love. You never did. And if you did, but moved on, well, that's even worse. So you know what? So as much as I hate to admit it, at least I can say that I genuinely loved someone. Because no matter what she did, I was there. And you know what? God damn it. Love doesn't just end. And unfortunately, I still... God. I'm saying this only because I feel like it'd make me feel better if I say it, but... God damn it, I still love her. I said it. I still care just as much about her as the day that I met her. You know, I don't believe in the whole love at first sight thing. I believe at caring at first sight, though. And what I mean by that is that you can care for someone, If they've made a lasting impression on you, you can care about that person. Like a friend. They make a good impression on you and they show you that they're really there for you, you can care about them. You don't have to love them, but you can care about them. You know, you don't just see someone that you like and then just not care about them. You gotta care about them before you do anything. And to a certain extent, I believe that care is something that you can do on the first day. Now, it's not like care is in the sense that you would do anything for them, but I mean care in the sense that you care that they exist. You care about their presence and you care about their time. You care about how they're. You may not care about how they're feeling, but you do care that you know that they're there. You do care about their existence because it makes you happy. You may not care about the person, but you care that they're there. And again, that's just another thing that I just believe in. It may sound weak, and it may backtrack everything I've said about her not fighting and me being so disappointed in that, that I put all this time in just for her not to fight, but the truth of the matter is that I don't care. I don't care that she didn't fight. Again, love doesn't give a shit about what they've done. Love doesn't give a shit about the past. Love cares about the present and what the future is going to hold. And I do believe in that standard. I do believe that love doesn't matter about the past. Like, I don't care about the past. I just want the future. Again, though, of course, my ADHD, not my ADHD, my anxiety would say otherwise. Obviously, it'd probably say otherwise. Like, oh, you fucking care about the past. You care that she hurt you. And yeah, I do. I do care, because that did hurt. But love doesn't care. I may hurt. Love doesn't. And I think that's another issue that I hold, and that's just attachment. I have attachment issues. Not attachment issues as in like Stockholm Syndrome, where I'm just going to like, oh, first person I see, not Stockholm Syndrome, but I forget which one it was, but it's the mindset that as soon as you see a person, you latch onto them and you keep them. It's not really a mental illness. I wouldn't say it's a mental illness, but it's a mindset that people have where as soon as you see someone, as soon as you interact, boom, right there, you've made an attachment. Like, it's just, I gotta be around this person all the time. It's more common within people that have been hurt, and like that have been hurt and abused. And it's not really mental illness, it's more of just a mindset, whereas I can trust this person. And again, it's not a bad thing. I'm not going to sit here and say that's a bad thing, But I do want to just touch upon how I did feel, and that's just how I feel. I don't know. I don't even know where this is going anymore. I've just been rambling on. I know I said I wouldn't, but I can't help myself, I can't help myself but to just ramble on because it makes me feel better. And maybe in the off chance that something comes out of this, maybe. But I don't know. I think that there are many things about myself that I don't like. I don't like the anxiety that I had. I don't like the anxiety that I will continue to have, and that carries on for the rest of my life. I mean, anxiety is something that, Jesus Christ, my phone just scared the shit out of me. And, well, to a certain extent, anxiety and ADHD, you can grow out of it. Unfortunately, I have not grown out of mine. In fact, I am literally the same amount I have the same amount of anxiety as I would any day, and I think that's more along the lines because I've been hurt in my past, and that's kind of just, it's because I'm just me. But I don't know. I just think that but who knows? Oh well. I don't know. I just would like to think that maybe one day there's a silver lining at the end of all this. And while it may be far, and it may not be anywhere near what I want, it's something to look forward to in a way. But I don't know. I think that this whole situation, just with me, my mental state right now, is just kind of deteriorated to the point where I can't even like think about anything else. Unfortunately, it's much as I hate to admit it, I can't go any time without thinking about this whole situation. Really, the best I can do is watch Star Wars, and that's only because I'm a nerd and I'm just invested in the storyline behind it. That's not because it actually really helps me. That's just because I'm looking at every plot hole that I see and thinking about the story and all that stuff. That's not really helpful, because as soon as like I stop thinking about those plot holes, all that stuff, the movie doesn't help anymore. The movie stops helping as soon as I stop thinking about plot holes and dumb shit. I had someone offer, not really offer, but kind of hint more towards therapy. And while I think that that's might be a good idea in short term, in long term though, unfortunately it's not going to happen. I think that because I've done therapy 3 times before. Each time has gotten successfully more successful. Jesus Christ, more successful. But I don't think that it's going to answer any of my. I don't think it's going to answer all my problems. Unfortunately, I just don't see it helping that much. Unfortunately, I mean maybe it will help at one point, but I don't know. I've been rambling on for a very long time now, and I'm sorry. This is... I don't know. I guess the situation hurts more than I thought it would. I've always thought that things like this take time, and while they do, obviously, I didn't think that during this time I would hurt as much as I did. I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't expecting this and I wasn't expecting the pain. Of course I was expecting the pain. I was absolutely expecting to feel this way when that happened, and I absolutely, expected to feel hurt. But I didn't expect it to get to the point where I had to go back to my meds, and I don't like them. I've obviously said it in the beginning that it's because it makes me feel like less of me, but I don't know. I see you guys typing, but I'm sorry. All right, see you, Nugget Man. I appreciate you being here. I'm sorry for the very dreary stream today, but I just need to get things off my chest. It was good having you. And I want to appreciate everyone else who's actually been here and has listened to this arcane of shit that I've just been spewing for the past, I don't know how long. It does help to a certain extent just to talk about everything that's been going on. And I know the gameplay is really shit. I'm not really paying attention to the game or just trying to form coherent sentences right now. So I'm sorry if you came here for the gameplay. This is obviously not the game for you. If you want gameplay, Dark Souls 3 gameplay, I do have other videos up just in case you guys want to see those instead of me talk about my fucking relationship, well, lack thereof issues. It's funny. I can joke about it though, and it's weird. It's almost surreal in a sense. You know, that I feel the way I do. I just, and I've gone on long enough now where I don't have anything else to say. I've said all what I wanted to say, and I've said everything that I was planning on saying, and saying everything that I wasn't even planning on saying. I was just here to talk about the meds, and this whole thing was just supposed to be an update for, you know, the fact that from now on, I'm, for at least for this point going forward, I'm not doing any Cuphead or any type streams, just because obviously it's not going to be enjoyable to just hear me screaming at my fucking TV just because out of pure anger. And me quitting 10 minutes in because I just don't have the fuse for it anymore, but it's turned into this. So, I didn't even say it, but just in a break between all this rambling and ranting, that right now, unfortunately, I'm stopping all Cuphead and, well, Dark Souls streams. This stream is different just because I'm not really focused on the gameplay, I'm more just talking. But Dark Souls, Cuphead, and all that stuff will be stopping right now because of the meds. It does make my irritability and my fuse a lot shorter. My irritability a lot higher and my fuse a lot shorter, which means about 10 minutes into the gameplay, I know this because I've tried this before. Obviously, I didn't stream it, but I've tried playing a game, not Dark Souls. I forget what game I was playing, and I smashed my controller, broke it, and this was an Xbox. I don't remember what game I was playing, but completely destroyed my controller. So in hopes that I don't do that again, because I don't really want to have to go out and buy another PS4 controller because I only have one of them, and PS4 is about all I play at my mom's house, just because my computer is acting strange. I don't know why it is, but just for the sake of entertainment purposes and for the sake of me just not being, I'm just gonna stop all those streams. I mean, I'll still play. Star Wars is still completely on the table, and I might do that, but I know a lot of you guys, or at least Dino Nugget, was asking for Cuphead, and that will come back, don't worry. It just won't be for now. Who knows? Maybe I'll try playing a new game. Maybe I'll try, I don't know. Also, Elden Ring. That is the one thing I'm actually looking forward to, is Elden Ring. About the only thing I'm looking forward to this fucking month. I don't even know if it comes out this month, but I've heard a lot about it. I don't know when it comes out, though. Also, in April, I just want to talk about a couple things that are happening in April. April, as if you don't know, my favorite voice actor, Rick May, passed away, sadly, due to COVID complications. And so during the month of April, I don't know if I'll do this, and this might change, but what I'm planning is for the month of April, it will strictly be Team Fortress 2 type videos, just as kind of a way to pay homage to Rick May. I don't know if that's what I'm going to do, so I wouldn't take that to heart. I mean, I might play other games, obviously, during the month of April, but my plan is that most of those games are going to be Team Fortress 2 related. Anyways, you know, now that I talk about other things, I don't actually want to go back to talking about what's going on. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I guess that I got everything out that I wanted to say. Granted, I have a lot more to say. I just don't feel like saying it. I don't know. I guess I got everything out that I was planning on saying, that I want to say, and I don't know. I think that's about it. I'm not going to end the stream. I'm just going to keep playing just a little bit longer. Just because I want to. But I think I about got all what I wanted to say out of the way, I guess. I don't know. I guess you know, it's so surreal, and I think it's really strange. I'll just say this and then kind of move on from it. But I think it's super surreal that, I don't know, 1.5 years was such a long time, dude. I think it's, you know, obviously I don't regret it, but I mean, like, I think about it and I realize that I could have done so much more in that 1.5 years. But in that 1.5 years too, I could have also been alone. I could have still been alone and fighting the same issues that I had, but I can't help but wonder, because the breakup caused me to go back on my meds because I just couldn't handle it. I had so much anxiety and depression caused by it. Or depressive symptoms. I don't know why. I keep calling it depression. It's not depression, it's depressive symptoms. They didn't say it was depression, so I don't want to take it. I just call it depression because it's easier to say. But I want to just quickly mention that because it's been bothering me. It's not depression. I don't have depression. Or at least it's not diagnosed. My meds help treat depressive symptoms. Not symptoms. Fucking hell. I don't have depression. I have depressive symptoms. My meds also help with depression though. So just put that out there. I don't have depression. At least I don't diagnose. At least it's not diagnosed. And I just wanted to get that out of the way, just because I didn't want to I didn't want to say I have a mental illness that I don't actually have. I hate when people do that. I absolutely hate it when people say that they have a mental illness that they don't actually have. So I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. I don't have depression. I have depressive symptoms right now. It's not diagnosed depression, but my meds will help treat those symptoms because my meds help treat depression. So I just want to quickly get that out of the way because that's been bothering me, and I was meaning to say it earlier, but I completely forgot. If I said I have depression, I don't know why I said that, but for whatever reason, I think I said I have depression. Fuck it, whatever. Moving on. I'm rambling on again. But I think, I don't know. I feel that there are certain things that I could have so easily avoided. And I want to talk about regret now. Because there are some things that in my life that I regret. And I actually now feel the pit in my stomach right now. The pit in my stomach that would be sadness. I don't even know how to explain it. It's super surreal, but I think another thing that I do want to touch upon is just how I felt. And I want to touch upon my physical health. Physically, I'm not doing so well. I am 105 pounds. I was 115 at the beginning of December. I'm now 105 pounds. And that was effective the last Thursday. My meds decreased my appetite. But that doesn't really matter because I never ate. I wasn't really eating before the meds either, just because that is the depressive symptom is lack of appetite. So I didn't really have an appetite beforehand. These meds, though, are only exacerbating those effects for a month now. Not a month from now, 3 weeks from now when the meds take full effect. And then my anxiety is down all the way. and everything like that. And in those three, and after I think this week, I shouldn't be a zombie anymore. I shouldn't just be it's not emotionless, but I mean, it's harder to feel emotion, you know? So, I mean, obviously you're more aggressive. You're just more irritated. You're not really aggressive. Like, you're not out to kill anybody, but I mean, like, you are more irritable, which means you get angrier, which is why they call you a zombie. Because you just get angry real easy and you get very angry. I'm trying to think about what I should say. There's so many things that I could say. But I don't really have any way to say them. You know, it's not like I have some magical wand that I can just wave around and all my thoughts would just poof, and then I can just say them, you know. I didn't really create a script for this. It's not like I created a script to talk about all of this. It was just more me just wanting to ramble on about how I was feeling. And now I don't have anything left to say. I do, though, but I don't know how to say it. I don't know what to say. I could go on and on about how I feel right now, but I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to say anymore. You know, I had a friend who asked me 2 questions. His first question to me was, what would you do if she came back? And I told him. I was very honest with him. I said, well, there's what I would like to do, and what I would like to say, and what I would actually say. And what I want to say is what I've wanted to say for what I would want to say. And I think what I want to say is that no. And I think that the relationship has ended and every last bridge has been burnt. But I said to him, what I would do. Hell, what I would do was the exact opposite. And he asked me why, and I told him. I told him because, well, feelings don't end like that. I can be as mad as I want, or lack thereof, and I would do the opposite. I would say it's okay, and I would say everything's all right, and I'd say that we'll just forget about this, put this behind us. And he asked me why again, and this time I answered him as truthfully as I could, and I said that's because no matter what she'd ever do to me, I'd still love her. There's nothing in this world that she could ever do that would make me feel any less about her. You know, and I think by that point he was a little baffled by my response, as I just said what I'd want to say would be to get lost. You know, I'll kick her to the curb. But then he heard what I feel like I would do, and he was surprised, and I'm just as surprised as he was, because I know better than anyone else how I feel. And all I feel is anger right now. I mean, not right now at this moment, but obviously, you know, right now I don't feel angry. But I mean, like, in the sense that when he was talking to me, that was when the meds started first kicking in, and I first started having that emotionless anger outlook, you know, the zombie. And I think I was more surprised than anyone that I was surprisingly soft. I think it shocked anyone more than I don't think it shocked anyone more than me to know that I would roll back over. I'm not exactly proud of that either. I'm not sitting here and saying, "Oh, I would take her back because I love her and I'm so proud of that." I don't feel proud. I don't feel like this is a good thing. I don't feel like this is healthy. I don't feel like this is something that I should be proud of. But I don't know. I think that there are some things in life that need to be taken on the chin. I feel like there's some things in life that you need to lose in order to appreciate. I feel like there's some things in life that you have to lose in order to move forward in life. And while I don't exactly agree with, losing everything will make you 100% stronger, I feel like there's some things that you lose and you only lose. You don't gain. The term, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, isn't exactly 100% bulletproof. Like a lot of people say. A lot of people say that, oh, experiences make you stronger. Unfortunately, not every experience makes you stronger. Some experiences hurt you. Some haunt you forever. Some haunt you emotionally, physically. If you go so far as to say spiritually, if you believe in that. Some would go to say as far as psychologically, things can damage you. Physically, things can damage you to the point of no return. That some things are best left unlearned. Some things are best left to die. Some things are best left unexperienced. I think to those people I have to ask not why you believe that way, but what made you believe that way. Because I want to know why, because I believe that way too. I believe that there are some things that in life that you aren't meant to experience. There are some things in life that weren't meant for you to have to endure. There's some things in life that weren't meant for you to have to fight through. I don't believe that life is always about battling and all about fighting your demons and growing stronger. I believe that sometimes life is about experiencing and relaxing. I believe that some things in life are best left untouched. I don't believe that life is a battleground, that you have to fight to gain new experience. You have to fight to grow stronger. You have to fight to better yourself. I believe that some things are best left for you to just lie low, relax, and let them pass. I know that's usually is a really shitty outlook on life. That's equivalent to saying, fuck it, just sit there and take it. Or just, fuck it, just sit there and let every experience pass you by. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are some things that you don't need to have to go through. There are some things that you don't need to fight. Mental illness, of course, being one of the biggest ones that you shouldn't have to go through. There's a lot of people that say out there that mental illness, is something that can produce the strongest people because they have to fight their mind. And that may be true for some people, but not everyone can escape that fight. Not everyone wins that fight against their own mind. I don't think people realize that don't have obviously people who have mental illness, they understand, or at least to a certain extent understand, how difficult it is to fight your own mind. It's difficult to fight your own mind because that is literally you. You are your brain. You have to fight yourself every day. And you have to win every fight, because if you don't win every fight, you end up a slave. You end up a slave to your own thoughts and feelings, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia. You gotta fight that every day. That's not something that just goes away for a couple days and comes back. That's your mind, and that's with you. That's literally with you every day, physically with you. I think that sometimes people forget how difficult it is to live with a mental illness. I'm not calling anyone out. I'm not going to sit here and say that you're a terrible person because you don't know what it's like to have a mental illness. But what I'm telling you is to listen. What I'm telling you is to go outside. Look around you, go outside, look around you, and realize that some people, when they look outside, they don't see happiness like you do. They see misery. You know, I was told a couple weeks ago, rather, that mental illness is caused by people who are just weak, who are just another way of showing that you're weak. And I'm not going to sit here and say that they're right. Obviously, they're not right. They are so far in the wrong that it hurts. Everyone can be affected by mental illness. It doesn't matter if you're strong, weak, old, young, good or bad. It doesn't matter. But what is known is that the good in people can outshine any mental illness just by the sheer force of will. And strengthen your heart. I want to go back to my meds real quick because I just want to talk about what's exactly going to happen with me. I'm going to talk about the steps that are going to happen and what is going to happen to me on a physical level. I said that I was 105 pounds and that weight is going to decrease. If I go below 100 pounds, it's critical. That is absolutely, it's a critical thing to go below 100 pounds. If I do go below 100 pounds, I have to stop the medication. That's not something I want. But I can't eat. Every time I eat, I feel like throwing up. That being said, I also want to let everyone know that because of this, I don't have as much energy because I don't eat. I barely eat. The only energy I get is the few hours of sleep I get a night because I have trouble sleeping on my own. Not on my own as in like because no one's around me, but I mean just like on its own. I have trouble on my own. I just have trouble sleeping. That's not even to mention my ADHD meds that actually are Adderall, which means I stay awake, which is obviously not helpful either. The meds actually work against me for a decent while until I can get used to them and create a schedule around it. The meds actually work against me for a lot of the time, and that's just due to unfortunate luck. Unfortunately, just because of my sleep pattern and all that. So that's just really unfortunate luck. Really, is all that it's chalked up to. But I mean, I don't know. Something that bothers me the most is that I'm not me. I'm not who I used to be. A long time ago, and I mean a very long time ago, back in elementary school, and back before then, preschool, pre-elementary school, if you will, which is like kindergarten first, which is like preschool, kindergarten, It's like kindergarten, preschool. I think that's pre-elementary school is like 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, or elementary school. So, yeah, it'd be kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade. I was a lively kid. I made friends, albeit not that many, obviously, but I made friends. I was lively. I was really outgoing. I was a class clown, albeit not very funny. And now look at me. Sitting here in front of a TV talking to YouTube about how shit my life is going right now. I was an energetic kid. I was always the life of the party. It's strange. Okay, I just want to make sure that you guys can. I just want to make sure my video is recording. Otherwise, that would suck. Although I wouldn't care. I probably wouldn't make another one, but I always was a kid that smiled bright in class. I was very attentive. I was a teacher's pet, if you can even imagine that. I was always super friendly. I loved making new friends. I would make friends with literally everyone I'd meet. It didn't matter who you were, I'd always come up to you, and I would just try to make friends. And even if the other person didn't fucking care, and eventually it got me bullied, but, eventually that... But, I wouldn't care. I'd just come up to you. I was just... Hi, you want to be my friend? Let's go do things. Let's come on, let's go. We want to play at recess. I was always that kid. I knew no social boundaries because I was just energetic. And now look at me. I can't even leave my own fucking house. Most days I'm afraid to do literally anything. I literally have so much social anxiety that I can't even talk to my own family. I have so much social anxiety that I can't go outside. I work, come back home, hide in my room all day. Sleep, come out to eat, hide back in my room. I was always the kid that was making new friends wherever I could, and although I may not have had many friends, I still tried to make friends with everyone. And now I can barely even talk to people anymore. I was always that kid who was out there. I was always the kid that would answer the teacher's questions. I was always the kid that tried to do everything he could to look as cool as possible. I was an idiot, so I'd come into school with I'd scratch up my face, come into school and say I got into a fight. Back in 1st grade, anyone's gonna believe that? But I still did it. Just to try to be cool, just try to make new friends, because, I just wanted new friends to hang out with. And now I can't even look in anyone's general direction. And every time I do, I'm afraid that the person looking back at me is silently judging me. Every time I see someone looking at me, before where I'd be ecstatic, I'd be like, yes, this person's looking at me. He obviously wants to be friends. But now it's like, oh shit, this person's looking at me. What does he want from me? Now it's just on the lines of this person's looking at me. is he gonna come after me? It all really came ahead when I was bullied. I was still just as energetic. I was still just as, I wouldn't say lovable, but I certainly was definitely not reclusive as I am now. I wouldn't call myself an extrovert, but I definitely wasn't so much of an introvert as I am now. And, well, I didn't know what bullying was at the time. I didn't know what all this nonsense about being picked on was. And I'll never forget it. I went to an after-school club just because my parents were working, so I always would go there until they came to get me. And one day I was taken by a group of people that I was too dumb to realize that these people were gonna beat me up. So they took me because we had a theater. They closed the curtains and they beat the shit out of me. And I mean, these were, I don't even know how old they were, but I was in like the first or second grade. I was in first grade. And these kids, I don't know what grade they were in, but they were definitely older than me. And they just beat me. They called me names, they beat me. And I didn't understand at the time what that meant. I didn't understand at the time that, this was gonna be a thing that lasted 5 fucking years. And beyond that. I didn't understand that this was something that I needed to report, so I left, and I was beaten, bruised, I was crying, but I didn't say anything because I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know that I don't know how I didn't know, but I just didn't know that was something that was unacceptable. Because again, at that time I was lonely. I didn't really have anyone. So I just thought it was something that friends did. I didn't think about it. The rest of the school year went about the same. I got beat up at that daycare place. I don't really call it a daycare. It's like an after school. It's an after school place. It wasn't associated with our elementary school, but they worked together. But they did work closely together because they were like across the street. And little by little, that group of kids grew into a massive group that would pick on me, profusely follow me, and I was just trying to do my thing. And I'd be followed, I'd be picked on. If I was unlucky and there was no one around, they'd beat me up again. Eventually I got so afraid of being alone that I had to stick by a teacher every day. And eventually sticking around teachers didn't even work. You think that as a first grader, that teachers would be there to help you, and they'd be there to make sure that you were okay, and they'd be there to... I'm actually crying. I'm not sad, but I'm crying. Like, I don't understand. These teachers that were supposed to be there to help you, they didn't care. I got beat up in front of them. They turned a blind eye. I don't know why they did. The teachers were in their 20s, 30s. They could have easily stopped it. It's not like they were in any danger. The bullies got so confident that they just beat me up wherever I was. They would beat me up in front of teachers. I got a group of friends, thank God, but Well, they got hit with the crossfire. They were beaten up just as badly as I was, and I didn't see much of them after that. And one day, one of them was with the kids, and he beat me up too. You know, I don't know. I'm actually crying. I'm actually able to like be sad. I don't know. I shouldn't be, but I am, and I'm glad I am. Because that shows that at least I can still convey emotion. You know, at least I'm not completely gone. But these teachers that were supposed to help you, their main job was to make sure the kids were safe. Sat back and watched. I will never forget one. Her name was Emily, and I can't remember her last name, but if I remembered it, I'd fucking call her out because she was a piece of shit. She looked at me and said, "It's not my problem." She said that me getting beaten up right in front of her was not her problem. And I think from then on I became so much more reserved. You know, I came home. What 8-year-old comes home and genuinely thinks that life would be better off without them? What son comes home to their mother and says, "I'm sorry for being such a disappointment"? You know, I don't know. I don't. You know, I don't. Ever since that day, I became so much more reserved, or ever since that time, not that day, obviously, it was more than just a 1 day thing, but I mean, like, I haven't been me, you know, since then. I can't really say I changed for the better, because I didn't change for the better, you know, I didn't change in a way that I wanted to change. I didn't change in a good way. I just... If I had a clock, I'd go back in time. I'd go back in time to when I was being bullied. I'd go back to a time when, before that even, you know, and what's worse is that those kids that some were even in my grade, to know that they were able just to move on with their life. I probably don't remember who I am. I probably don't even remember my face. think it's sad, too. This isn't something that I'm proud of saying. It's not a part of my life that I really am fond of. It's not like I'm proud of being bullied and being defenseless. But it goes to show, how I changed. It goes to show what happened in my life that I think would cause me to feel the way I do. This isn't some villain origin story either. It's not like I sat here and grew in power and I got more empowered with this. I lost so much because of that. I lost my sense of self. I'm not me. I'm not who I used to be. I wish I was. My self-confidence was never so low. And it leads me back to the whole relationship. During that time, I felt like me again. I felt like I could become me. And it's strange. Because I felt so secure. I never felt that way with anyone. Not since I was being bullied, obviously. I don't know. I never felt safe with anyone anymore, but I did with her. She was the one I could really talk to. She was the only one that really understood what I went through and accommodated for it. But I guess in the end, maybe it was too much. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm an easy person. I'm not. In fact, I'm probably one of the hardest people to conversate with and to really start a connection with because of it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm perfect. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I just who knows? Maybe one day things will change. Maybe one day things will get better. Not today, though. Not tomorrow. Not anytime soon. I guess I don't really have much else to say, and I guess I really don't want to say anything else. I got all I wanted out of off my chest, and so I think I'm done. For now, anyways. With that all being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching and just listening to me. I know this isn't exactly what most people want to see when they look up gaming content. I know drama isn't exactly, and talking about someone's feelings, especially over a relationship that doesn't even exist anymore, is not exactly the most entertaining thing. But sometimes I do feel like I need to do that, and sometimes, unfortunately, I do feel like I have to do that sometimes. And so I do apologize for that. If you were trying to look for Dark Souls 3 and you stumbled across this, I do apologize for that, but unfortunately, like I said before, this channel isn't exactly just for gameplay. It's just kind of for what I want, and if I need to rant, then I'll use this channel to do so. I can make a gaming channel if you all want, but unfortunately to do that, I'm going to need like people to actually say they want to do it, because I'm not just going to sit here and... Because if that's the case, then I'm going to unlink this channel to my PS4, which means I'll primarily be doing computer games for rant and stuff. But I don't want to do it if obviously no one's going to watch. So I guess that's kind of something that I should look into. Who knows, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, I don't know. I do have a couple updates that I do just want to go over real quick. They're not too major, and they're not gonna be like big things like, oh, I'm doing this. But again, I do want to go over the quick things. For the month of April, I will be doing primarily Team Fortress 2 gameplay, and that's just out of respect for Rick May and for my favorite voice actor. That's what I've done. I also want to shed light on some other things that will be going on, just for right now anyways, and just so I can get my bearings again. One of those things obviously being, of course, the stopping of Cuphead and Dark Souls streams, just for right now, just in case, until just for the meds to wear off. Not meds to wear off. That's just so I have time to just recover and recoup from all this arcane of shit that has just gone down recently. And that's just because I don't want this whole thing to be about just me getting mad over literally everything. Because again, I do get very irritable when I do take these meds, and with that will just come me screaming at the television for hours on end and throwing stuff, and that doesn't exactly sound... If it doesn't sound enticing, don't worry. I don't think it does either. So I'm just kind of putting it off for right now. They will be coming back, just not anytime soon. I also want to apologize for going on that tangent about my bullying. That's just something that that's just something that weighs down on me every second of every day. Unfortunately, that's just something. It is something that just weighs down on me. That bullying and all that stuff has been something that I haven't been able to properly put behind me yet, and unfortunately, I don't think I ever will. And so I'm sorry about getting all emotional because of that. I know that, again, it's not a comfortable thing to go through, and that's just to watch somebody and them talk about their feelings and then just start crying. I know that's not exactly the most comfortable thing to have to sit through, or to have to listen to, rather. You wouldn't have to see, even if you didn't sit through it. I know it's very uncomfortable to have to listen to that. And obviously the implications behind it of me just sitting here and crying, even if you click off immediately, you still have the implications that I'm just sitting here crying. It isn't exactly the most comforting or comfortable thing to have to sit through, so I do apologize for that as well. It's just something I haven't been able to put behind me yet. And that is about the only thing, I guess, that really can still make me cry, because I think about other things and they don't really have that much of an effect, so I'm actually quite surprised that I cried there. Again, I'm not going to sit here. That's not a bad thing either. That just means that that's just something that weighs so heavily on me that not even the meds work against. And I don't know. Maybe they haven't taken full effect yet. That's probably why, but I don't know. But I also want to sit here and thank you all as well, just for being here. Like, even if you haven't, even to the people who don't watch this, you guys are greatly appreciated on this channel. Again, I can't stress it enough that this isn't something that I do for an audience. This isn't something that I do for people. I'm not going to sit here and, obviously I take requests for games to play, but I don't play them for the sole purpose of growing an audience. I don't play for the sole purpose of making money, or to attempt to make money. I don't do that for this, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm just here to spread positivity on my on my tiny little platform I got here, in hopes of hopefully making someone's day. And while I do like gameplay walkthroughs, I do it more just because I like recording them. So, when people actually like the content and they sit here and watch it, not only is it like just a constant reminder that there are people here that actually do care about this content, or at least they stumble across it and they sit here and watch it. I do want to just say real quick that I do appreciate everyone that's been here. I think that you people are amazing. I think you are amazing, and just sitting here, just watching me, just making a complete ass of myself sometimes is very therapeutic. I also do want to say as well that I don't know what's going to happen to the future of... No, I want to say this real quick, and I don't know what's going to happen to the future of this specific channel. I've been so wanting to post things, but I don't think that I have the time anymore to do this. And that's not just saying, and I know obviously this is just gonna blow over eventually and I will be back, but I took a week break and I just kind of took time to think about me, and I took this time to kind of really reevaluate my thought process here, and I also took this time to really think about my next plan of assault in terms of how I'm going to go about my situation here. And I'm not exactly sure on how I'm going to do it just yet. I'm not exactly sure how I want to go about this. There's so many things that I want to do right now that either I don't have access to doing anymore, or the bridge is burning rapidly, and I'm too nervous to take that leap of faith. And while I'm not going to sit here and say that all this is just because of my emotions right now, or lack thereof, I guess, but I'm not going to sit here and say that all this is just festering inside of me, like this is all just going to come out one day and it's going to explode. But what I'm saying is that right now I don't really see any other alternative to the way that I want to go about this. There's so many things that I wish I could still say. There's so many things I wish I could still do. There's so many things that I could have changed in the past 2 months. There's so many things that I wish I could just go back and just retry in the past 2 months that right now I can't really focus on everything right now. I can't really focus on one specific task because there's so many things that I want to do before every bridge is burnt. And that's not just with relationship, that's with school, that is with work. I'm trying to juggle work, school, and my emotion and my mental state right now, and it is incredibly difficult, and it is getting more and more difficult every day to do so. I'm not going to sit here and say to you, woe is me. I hate doing that. I don't want everyone to take pity, but I also want you all to know that right now I'm not exactly sure on what steps I have to take now to really make myself heal. And I think that's going to be a very difficult thing that is going to take a very long time to accomplish. It's going to take a very long time for me to realize and learn and to go about doing what I need to do and what I want to do. There's so many things that I want to do that I don't have access to. There's so many things that I want to do, but to take that step is going to hurt so much more than the result, than the healing result that it's going to give me. I think that there are so many things that I want to do right now that it gets hard to really think about what I should be doing. Yeah, but I don't think that it's going to affect the channel at all, but if it does, just know that if I stop posting or I post less, or God forbid I start posting more, I don't think I'll do that though, but God forbid I start posting more, just know that it's kind of just know that it's more of a take it as a gift, I guess. But I don't really know what else to say from here. I guess I could just say that I'm grateful that you guys are here. I mean, I already told you that, obviously. I guess I could say it again, that I'm very grateful that you all are here right now and with me. And I really am grateful that you all have stuck by me to this point in time. And I'm very grateful that I have you all here. I don't think you people realize how much it means to me to know that you guys are here. I don't think you guys realize how much that it actually means to me. I could sit here and get all sappy and start saying, oh, I love you guys so much, but I think that that really takes away from the whole point. And that whole point is that you guys mean a lot more to me than you guys will ever know. You know. And while I may not show it all the time, and I may ignore messages that you guys send, or I may unplug my microphone when you all are trying to talk to me just so I can not talk, you know, I know that conveys one message, but I want you to know that you all are very much appreciated here. I also want you guys to know that if you guys have any issues or anything you want to talk about as well, I'd be more than happy to talk about them. If you want to do it anonymously, obviously, I will be putting my email in the description if you guys want to email me anything at all that you want to talk about or you want me to talk about, anonymously or not anonymously, obviously. If you guys, or you can leave it on comments. I don't really read comments that much if they're older videos, just because I don't get those notifications anymore, but I might. But I mean, if you guys want to leave emails, I'll put my email in the description if you guys want to do that. For anonymously, or if you guys just want to post it on YouTube, on the YouTube comments, I can do that as well. I want people to know that although I may not exactly be in tip-top condition, I want people to know that I'm still there for them. I've always been there for everyone in here. I don't know if I've said it enough, but I am. I'm here for everyone that needs it. No matter who you are, I will help you the best of my ability. Again, this whole channel is to spread positivity, and I want to make sure that that positivity can be spread. So if you guys have any issues or any topics you want me to go over, or video suggestions, anything, feel free to email me in the email that I will leave in the comments of this live stream or anything like that. But I think that's about it, guys. I don't really have anything else to say. There's not really much else that I want to say. So I guess I'll leave it here. Stay awesome, stay fresh, and stay you guys. And I am sorry about the whole rant, but it's just a way to make me feel better. See you guys.